I'm by no means a professional speaker, so I hope that you'll bear with me. I, like you, am just a man from the shop or a woman from the shop, just a journeyman trade unionist trying to do a job. As I hope you can see, I'm not the drunkard they make me out to be, or a felon. I don't stand before you wearing an orange suit. I was not fired for poor performance. I was fired because I believe in a novel idea, democracy in the IAM.
Yeah.
I was fired because I believe in our IAM Constitution and the provisions that provide that every member should have the right to seek office. How many here today have been an IAM member for over 10 years? And how many of you have voted in an IAM Grand Lodge officer election in the past?
Zip. Zip. You're the only guy.
Therein lies our problem. The lack of democracy has fostered a culture of privilege in headquarters, and there is no saying no to those in power, and those in power have learned how best to win an election. The best way to win an election is to ensure that an election never happens in the first place. And they have that system down to almost perfection until now. They have consistently, while in office, suppressed any dissent or any others who tried to do what we're doing today. They control the process of nominations. They influence and exert that influence on every local lodge officer within this organization. Of the 700 nominations that they got on the 25th of January, I would submit that better than 600 of them were by the casting of one ballot by either an officer of that local or a staff member who was fully paid by the IAM.
That's right, brother.
That's right. That's right.
No challenger for IP has forced an election in over 65 to 70 years in the IAM.
We're going to change that.
I thank you all who supported me and supported the IAM reform. A very special and heartfelt thanks to Brother Furby and the Executive Board of 751A for their public and courageous endorsement of myself and the IAM reform ticket.
We're going to step up, eh?
I know many of you remain undecided, perhaps not in this room, but many of our members remain undecided in this election over whether to stick with the tried and true, as they like to call themselves. Good, bad, or indifferent, at least they know what they're going to get. I, for one, wouldn't want to get any more of it. But there's the opportunity to take a chance on someone new and yet unknown to many. I'd like to offer a comparison to demonstrate, I believe, a stark difference between Brother Buffenbarger and myself. I initiated in the IAM in 1975, and over the course of the next 17 years, served my brother and sister members as shift steward, as committee man, recording secretary, grievance committee chair, local lodge president, for a period of 17 years in railroad shops and yards throughout Connecticut, New York, and much of New England, while representing the IAM as an organization. I've been elected delegate to district conventions in 1976, 1980, 1986, 1990. A delegate to the Grand Lodge conventions in 1988, 1992, and 1996. Each time elected by my peers and trusted to represent their interests. After 7 years, I was elected as a general chairman with District 19, the equivalent of a business rep. I was recruited after that 17 years to join the Grand Lodge staff as an assistant railroad coordinator. After 4 years, a new position was created specifically for me. In the words of then General Vice President Robert Roach, due to the unique skills and abilities that Jay Cronk brought to the table. 2 years later, I was promoted again to transportation coordinator. My duties and responsibilities expanded. I remained in that position until late in 2012, when a new GVP decided to restructure the transportation department. As a result, I was reassigned as a Grand Lodge representative. In 14 years, I was never disciplined, never counseled, never warned for any infraction, never committed any infraction. However, just 7 days after announcing my intention to seek office or to run against Tom Buffenbarger, I was summoned to headquarters and in the presence of a guard, terminated and escorted off the property. My termination was by letter. Buffenbarger was not there to terminate me. In contrast, Buffenbarger served an apprenticeship from 1970 to 1974. He began his journeyman career in 1974. But after but 3 years, he was appointed as business representative. As elections for business rep neared, for what would have been Tom's first election, he found himself appointed as a special rep at Grand Lodge, where by 1980 he had gone through the progression to become a Grand Lodge rep. That was 1980. 1980 was the beginning of the Reagan years. During the course of the Reagan years, our organization was decimated in terms of loss of members. As a result, they were financially very insecure, and hard decisions had to be made at headquarters. There were furloughs to come, many Grand Lodge representatives to be furloughed. However, just before that furlough was enacted, Tom found himself appointed as a special assistant, taken out of the bargaining unit, and therefore never faced furlough. So in 1982, when he began as a special rep, he later stayed as a special assistant and then became assistant to the IP for 2 IPs before being appointed international president in July of 1997. Tom Buffenbarger served a period of 3 years with his brothers and sisters as a journeyman, and that was more than 30 years ago. At the critical time in your Boeing negotiations, Buffenbarger was confronted with a dilemma. Does he protect the per capita tax of 10,000 jobs, or does he sacrifice the pensions of the journeymen and women who he should have shared an interest in? You know what the decision was.
You screwed us. Yep. That's what I did.
He chose to put his interests in the 10 years of per capita tax from 10,000 positions, rather than in the interests of what follow or protect the interests of the members that we have. I never lost my community of interest with brothers and sisters of this union, and I will never lose my community of interest. After a 22-year absence, I was warmly welcomed back by all my brothers and sisters at the railroad, and it felt as if I had never left. And that, I believe, is the starkest contrast between Tom and I. I am you, you are me. Tom has never been and could never be. I thank you again for being here, and I look forward to victory come April, and let's give Buffy the boot.
Yeah!